Okay, so engine here. Over a couple things real quick. First of all, the crank. This OEM, this thing's never been opened before. I mean, as far as like the crankcases go. Crank, a little bit of movement here. But as far as up and down, it's good. This crank's in great shape. Need bearings, of course. So if you look at the head here, you can see that nothing was in the combustion chamber or crankcases because there's no marks whatsoever on the head. No pre-detonation. Squish band is impeccable. Head perfect. Nothing. I can put it right back together the way it is. Okay, cylinder and piston is a different story. So you can see here, this piston is ratchet. Turn off this. Those are some pretty serious gouges. So what had happened was this wear had started. It just kept going and going and going. Eventually, it got clear up here, and on the opposite side, it's on both sides. Which this is the worst side here, and that's the intake side. Which normally it's worse on the exhaust side because that's the hot side. Because when I look at this, my first reaction is a heat issue did this. Because on the intake side here, it's got a gigantic window there. On the intake side, it's tore up pretty bad. Anyway, that it worked its way up, and both of these rings were kind of just semi-seized in there, and that's where the compression was lost. So the bike was blown up, so to speak. So all right, we look at the cylinder. So that's the marks on the exhaust side right here on the cylinder. Man, Mika sells some tough stuff, man. It's amazing sometimes how durable it really is. I've probably put heads back together or jugs back together with pistons, and maybe only 20% of the original nickel seal coating is there, and it's just enough to keep that engine running. I mean, an engine will run with no nickel seal for a little while. Okay, so you can see here, this is on the intake side, and that's where the baddest gouges were on the piston. Well, when you look at these marks, your initial thought would be, oh, something was in there, or it sucked mud, but here's the deal. If a cylinder sucks mud or something like that, 9 times out of 10, what happens is the rings will, from what I've seen, the rings will completely be stuck in there because any like forceful, anytime the piston has to go past something that would make it tight, it just pops the top of it just enough to close the way it's built. It pops it on the edges, and then it just compresses, and the rings stick. And that's not the case here. These rings move really good. This piston has, like, other than down the sides, once above the first ring, the piston shows virtually no wear. I'm pretty sure this is an Athena piston, and look, it's domed. It's important that it's domed too because this is a bike you don't want to mess too much with your deck heights and stuff like that, because when your squish closes on this head, the compression ratio on this is really close to, I think it's 11.5 or 12.5 to 1, but it's really close to detonation. So you want to be careful messing with that on this bike. Kip's valve works good. This is after China started making heads. Small exhaust port, big exhaust port. Lug them through the woods, screaming up the hillside. Look at the intake ports on this thing. Transfer ports. It is it's a 67 millimeter bore. That's, we're like 250 territory. It's a small stroke. Everything looks good. What do you guys think? Let me know what you think down the bottom. My options are to, if I were to go, I need a silencer. I need an OEM silencer. Problem is the pipe has a substantial amount of dents in it. Even if you go like a reconditioned OEM classic and expect like the Kelly Blue Book value, in order to do that, as long as you get everything OEM and your only changes are like performance pipe and silencer, as long as it meets the original OEM, like make sure your silencer has a spark arrestor, because that's what the KDX required at the time. There's small details like that. In my opinion, this is not one of the best looking KDXs with the purple seat, but if I get the right parts, the OEM style parts, there's no reason I can't ask. I could probably list it for 23, and there's no reason I can't get 2,000 for it. I think it's I have some key components to it. We'll see though. We'll see. Or I could just throw it together. One of the reasons I'm even here today is because I initially thought that I was going to do like a "Can I get this run challenge?" Because a lot of people would look at this mess of a piston and cylinder and be like, "There's no way. Get this run with no parts." Oh yeah, I'm about 90% confident I could get this running pretty good enough to sell it, knowing that they would at least get some hours out of it. But the rest of the bike is, there's not a dent in the frame. There's a lot of paint off of it, but not a dent in it. A lot of gravel road riding, I assume. But anyway, let me know what you think. I'll see y'all soon.